The glamorous private jet lifestyle looks amazing, but is your business jet secretly draining your wallet more than you expected? Hi, welcome to BizJet TV. My name is PrivateJetOwnership and I'm the host of the channel. Over 1,200 videos here about private aviation, also the author of The Quantum Economy. This book's about private jet and how the private jet can really accelerate you into the quantum economy. So I suggest you grab a copy if you haven't got one already. You can click on the link below for that. But let's get into the costs of the private jet ownership. Now, today, when someone's looking to buy an aircraft, very often they hop on the internet, which is how you ended up on BizJet TV here on YouTube. But you've probably also visited avbuyer.com and controller.com, where there's lots of airplanes listed for sale. And you probably have an idea in your head what type of aircraft you'd like to buy, and you end up phoning the people that are listed on there, and you're talking to somebody that's got a Challenger 300 for sale, for example. Now, what you have to realize is the person you're talking to is actually not working for you. They're working for the owner. So their goal is to sell you the airplane for as much money as possible. So they're going to, talk to you about the airplane, this, that, the other. What they're not going to do is they're not going to tell you the realistic costs. They're going to try and tell you, oh yeah, it's about $1.2 million to operate a year, and that's all it's going to cost you. The pilot costs you $50,000 a year. And his training's 10 grand a year, and they're just, they're doing everything they can to sell you the aircraft, because that's what they're paid to do, to sell you the aircraft. They're not paid to find you the best aircraft that you need. And this is why it's important that if you're going about something like this, you should be hiring an aviation advisor, somebody like myself, that can really realistically show you what this thing is going to cost you once you have the aircraft. Now, airplanes for 200 to 300 hours a year, mid-size cabin, can cost you up to about $2 million between one thing and another. And there are certain things that you have to be careful, because of course fuel is an obvious one. You have to put fuel in the airplane, so you can work that one out quite quickly. But you've got things like hangar space, and the hangar space will vary depending on what part of the world you're in. You've got insurance, that will vary as well. But you've got your engine programs and those kind of things. But you'll see if it's on an engine program, it will cost you X amount per hour, your budget for that. But the other thing is, for example, in Europe, you've got airways fees. And you don't see that. You get this bill every so many months, and you've been flying on different airways, and also landing fees you get in Europe, for example. And those can be quite hefty. So you've got to be careful. The other thing is pilot salaries, and everybody will tell you, oh yes, you pay your pilot $80,000 a year, that's fine. But if you want to get a good pilot, and a good pilot will save you a lot of money, because he or she will handle the airplane in a different way. But the big killer on, the cost of the private jet is actually the unscheduled maintenance events. And this is where the pilot plays an important role in this. When suddenly something breaks that was unexpected, two things happen. Number one, the airplane's grounded. And number two, you've got this extra cost. You've got to then find a mechanic that can fix the airplane or take it to a shop where it can be fixed. You've got to order the spare part. If they don't have the parts in stock, they will have to order that. And sometimes that can take time. And during that time, your airplane is going to be grounded. But while the airplane's grounded, there are certain costs that you still will be paying. If you've got a deal on a hangar, and you're paying, you got 3-year contract for the hangar, you're still going to be paying for the hangar, you're still going to be paying insurance, you're going to still be paying your pilot salaries unless your pilots are on contract. But that's not a good way to go. You don't want to own an airplane and just hire pilots for the day to fly you, because you want someone that looks after the airplane for you, and you want to really have the same pilots flying the airplane. It's a bit like a car. If you buy a car off one of these companies that was renting the cars out, the car won't be in as good condition as a car that's been driven by one person only. So it's the same with the plane. So the pilot side of it is really, really important. You need to find a good, competent pilot, and usually these good, competent pilots, and if you want them to stay, you need to pay them good money. And so that really, really is key. As I always say, the pilot is more important than the plane, because the pilot will help avoid certain unexpected maintenance events. Also, the other thing is, when you're buying an aircraft, it's important to do a good pre-buy inspection, because that way you will know if there's any hidden things there. For example, borescopic check on the engines will tell you if there's something looming inside the engine that could develop into a big problem later on down the line when you go and do one of the major overhauls. So the pre-buy inspection is really, really important because it will help you understand what work is going to be needed on the aircraft in the future. And if there's anything there preventative that you can do, make sure it's done, maybe even before or just after, but at least you can budget for it. You know that, okay, this particular thing needs changing. The owner's not going to pay for that. It's something that probably needs to be changed in 6 months' time. I can budget for that and I can schedule for that. So that's important, so you know. Because at the end of the day, as I say in my book, The Quantum Economy, people buy a private jet to save time and also to travel with their family as well as business. So those are things you need to look at. Also, depreciation of the aircraft. The aircraft depreciates every year. Now, if you're in the US, you can write off tax-wise the depreciation. You need to consult with a good tax advisor and see how you can structure that. But that's certainly something that you need to look at. If you're buying an aircraft, this thing is going to depreciate. It's like a car. Cars depreciate every year, whether you fly or not. The airplane will depreciate. So you've got to budget for that. Now, there are some airplanes that don't depreciate much. Some have even gone up in value. The airplane that depreciates less than any other airplane, and the one that can actually go up in value, and I know a couple of people that have had this, is the Pilatus PC-12. They bought the airplane, flown it for 2 or 3 years, and then sold it at a profit. So yeah, that's an interesting one. So when you're buying an aircraft, the other factor you need to look at is how much does this particular airplane depreciate, and you need to factor that in as well. The engine programs and that and maintenance programs is always a good thing to buy into because it just gives you predictability. So you're paying that every month, and then when it goes in for maintenance that certain things have been covered. It's a bit like an insurance policy. You're paying every month and every hour maybe for the engines and that money gets put aside for the maintenance when it has to happen. Some people on an older aircraft, they don't want to pay for these programs. They just decide to pay for things when needed. The problem with that is when you go to resell the airplane, it devalues it because it hasn't been on a program. So putting the aircraft on programs or buying an aircraft that's on programs is always better because it just gives that predictability, and that's really, really important. I mean, when you're buying a jet, you need to be able to plan also, how much is this thing going to cost you? But, realistically, the things to really watch out for is obviously the pilots and the unexpected maintenance and doing a good pre-buy inspection so that you know what you're getting yourself into. That will help you prevent any surprises, regarding the actual cost of having this airplane. Whether you fly 200 or 300 hours a year, or 1 year you fly 250 hours, another year you fly 150 hours, you're still going to have those fixed costs to pay for. So it's really important to approach this in this way, and understand, and that's why it's important that you have somebody working on your side and working for you that can, run all these estimates for you and say, yeah, this airplane is going to cost you this amount, or this particular, Lear 45 is a good candidate because you also have to look at regulations that are coming, things like CPDLC, and this is something that's being fitted in a lot of aircraft these days. It's a system where the pilot can communicate with air traffic control through text messaging, and there's different types of airspace now that will give you preferential routing if you have this system on board, and that means you will be saving fuel. Otherwise they'll put you the long way, and more airplanes get fitted with this system, more difficult it's going to be for those airplanes that aren't fitted with this system, particularly when you're going into busy areas. They'll just vect you around, stick you in a holding pattern and let the other ones come in first. So these are things that have to be considered. The other thing, which is a trend right now, is putting Starlink Wi-Fi on your airplane. It's very cost effective. It's a lot cheaper than the other Wi-Fi systems that are out there. It's satellite based and it's very fast as well. Quite a few people have told me, they said, this works better at 45,000 feet than the Wi-Fi I have in my office. Gets talking to the satellite. So installing Starlink is a good idea also because we live in an economy these days where everybody's connected. Everybody's used to, running around with their phones and being connected all the time. And so, you want to be connected when you're in the air as well. And particularly if you're flying for 4 or 5 hours, you want to be able to communicate with your family and with your business associates and keep an eye on what's going on in the world while you're on your airplane. So Starlink is something that if you haven't got it already on your airplane, it's something that a lot of people are actually installing, not only on the larger aircraft but even on the smaller ones. And I predict that probably nearly every airplane or most private jets, I'd say, will have Starlink installed in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's something that you need to install if you have, and it can cost for like a G4, G5. we're talking almost $400,000, between $300,000 to $400,000 to have this thing installed. It's a little bit cheaper on the smaller jets because the antenna is smaller. And what you have to do though is you have to check that there is an STC available, which is a supplemental type certificate for that particular airplane that you're buying to install Starlink, and that's something that needs to be checked. You can't just say, oh, I bought a PC-12 and I want Starlink installed. Oh, the STC is not out yet. You've got to wait a year or 6 months or whatever. So you need to check that. And then the next thing will be finding a shop that can actually install that for you and organizing to do it, because it does take about 3 weeks to install this whole system onto the aircraft. So you have to sort of organize for that. And it's always best to do that when the airplane's going to be down for normal maintenance. Try and that's another secret with you know, managing your aircraft in a certain way, is to make sure that when the airplane's down for 2 or 3 weeks that you get all the little bits that you need doing. If you want to change the seats or the carpet or whatever, plan all those things in advance and plan to do it at an MRO that can do all these things for you. So you fly it into one location, they change the carpet while they do work on the engines, and then maybe install Starlink, and they're doing it all at the same time. That way the airplane's down for 3 to 4 weeks, and then when it's finished, it's ready to go. And you're not doing one job in one place for 2 weeks and then flying it somewhere else to do another job, because sometimes they have to pull up the floor of the aircraft and that obviously takes time and costs money. So if they're going to do that to do one job, but you've also got another job that could be done, you want to plan that so that when they pull the flooring up, they only do it once, they do the 2 jobs, and then they put the flooring back. That's the kind of thing that you need to plan for. And usually, you know, if you have your own airplane, you have a lead captain. The lead captain usually manages all those things for you, which is why it's good to select a good lead captain that can look after the airplane, not only do the flying and look after the other pilots, but also look at the maintenance things and things like that and plan these things for you, because then the airplane will be kept well. This is important because the operation for you will run smoothly, and then the day you resell the airplane, it's been well maintained, well kept, looked after, and you know the maintenance, haven't been any surprises. If you've got a reckless pilot, you keep getting these unscheduled maintenance events, and that when you go into a pre-buy inspection to sell the aircraft, a person comes in to do the pre-buy on your airplane because they want to buy it, and they see all these unscheduled maintenance events. That's a bit of a flag, and they may turn around and either walk away from the deal or say they want $500,000 knocked off the original price that you agreed on, and that happens sometimes. So these are all little things that you need to think about when you're buying an aircraft, so that there are no surprises. So if you are budgeting for $2 million a year, it's $2 million or $1.8 million, and it's not $2.5 million, because there are some things that they never told you about that suddenly happened. So that's all from Producer Paulie here on BizJet TV. So check out the channel, the rest of the videos here. There's a good playlist here on selecting the right aircraft, which I suggest you can have a look at. And if you haven't got yourself a copy of the Quantum Economy, you can click on the link below to do that. And that's all from Producer Paulie here on BizJet TV, and I'll see you in the next one.